Laremy Tunsil, the 6'5", 315-pound massive left tackle from Ole Miss, was a lock to be drafted within the top 5 picks of the 2016 NFL Draft. Behind quarterback, offensive left tackle is arguably the most prized position in the NFL, and many experts had Tunsil as the best left tackle available in the draft. NFL teams are willing to pay big money to protect their quarterback, and they saw Tunsil as that protection. April 28, 2016 started like any other draft day, with rumors flying across the airwaves about potential trades, and Mel Kiper giving you insight into his 17th mock draft. For Laremy Tunsil, the day was anything but ordinary. That morning, a video surfaced of Laremy smoking marijuana in a gas mask bong full of smoke. The NFL isn't too concerned with addictive painkillers, but the second a player is caught smoking weed during their freshman year of college, teams will immediately back off amid thoughts of character concerns. Somehow, NFL teams spend millions every year on scouting reports and haven't found out that smoking marijuana has no correlation with the level of play on the field. Laremy fell to the Miami Dolphins with the number 13 pick in the draft. NFL rookie salaries are mostly predetermined, so his fall from a top 5 pick to the number 13 pick cost him roughly $8 million over the first 4 years of his career. To add even more drama that day, his Instagram was hacked, leading to leaked photos of a text message exchange between Tunsil and Ole Miss's assistant AD of football operations. The text messages show Tunsil asking for money to help his mom pay her bills. Receiving money from the school is a very clear violation of NCAA rules. His career began with a nightmare draft day, but now that he's made some money, let's see how he spent his first million after his new extension. Thanks GQ Sports for another excellent episode.
My rookie year I had a $450K salary and a $7 million signing bonus. I actually wanted my first job to be at McDonald's, where I could eat all day and just collect money, collect fries and all that.
Kids like Laremy look at jobs at McDonald's as a decent way to make some money in high school. Any money in high school is good money. Only 3 years after high school prom, Laremy had $4 million in his bank account. Think about that. How in the world do we expect these young athletes to be able to handle money like that? Only 3 years difference between desiring a job at McDonald's to having $4 million in his bank account.
I'm from a small town called Lake City, North Florida. It's up there by Jacksonville. Not much to do at all. Everybody knows everybody. It's a super small town. Everybody's pretty much a cousin there. Everybody know everybody's business.
What's really challenging for guys like Laremy who are from small rural towns is everyone is going to want something from you when you make it to the league. Over the past 20 years, there have been a few prospects out of the Lake City area to go Division I, but Laremy is by far the biggest recruit. I'll never know what it's like to be in an NFL player's shoes, but I imagine he has a countless number of requests from people an arm's length away from him. On a smaller scale, I get messages and emails daily asking for podcast interviews or asking for my time. Guys like Laremy probably deal with just as many requests, but for money or business opportunities.
The very first thing I bought was a Lambo truck. Lambo truck with customizations, $300,000.
Laremy probably had limited options for exotic vehicles given his size. I couldn't imagine a guy as big as him getting into a little exotic coupe. The Urus are more popular than I imagined too. I'm seeing more and more of them on the road. From this car and driver post, in our testing, the Urus went from rocketed to 60 miles an hour in 3.1 seconds and tore up the quarter mile in 11.3 seconds at 121 miles per hour. Likewise, Lamborghini estimates a top speed of 190 miles per hour. The Urus feels athletic from behind the wheel too, with quick steering and stable high-speed cornering. That sounds like a really fun vehicle to drive. The reason why I don't think Laremy making this purchase is dumb is because
I saved about 80% and spent about 20% of the money.
I'm really glad to see more and more athletes saving their money. You technically lose purchase power by saving money, so I hope he means he's investing his money and not just keeping it in a bank account. Just to give you an idea on how much he is saving.
You can see the details of my contract negotiation right here.
The Houston Texans play 9 games in the 2020 season in 0 state income tax states, so 75% of his games are not being taxed at the state level. We know they're not making the playoffs too. This is significant at his income level. After paying federal income taxes, he'll be left with around $12.5 to $13 million. I normally mention paying agent fees, but Laremy is different because he negotiated his deal with the Texans without an agent. He was actually representing himself.
I negotiated my own deal when it was time for me to restructure my contract Good thing I had a great team around me, some great friends, a great manager, and we got it done.
I'm all for player empowerment. I think it's cool that these athletes are focusing on gaining skills off the field and learning how to manage their business themselves. It sounds funny, but athletes that are signing these huge 8-figure contracts are essentially corporations and need to be treated as such.
I met with my financial advisors, and we go over our finances every month. Tell me how much I'm spending, don't spend this, don't spend that, we need to invest this, we need to invest that. I feel like it's always good to have a financial advisor.
Unfortunately, there have been stories of financial advisors stealing money from athletes, but most of the time it's a semi-shady financial advisor who has personal connections with the athlete or was always just an arm's length away. If you're an athlete, go with a huge firm that's reputable and has handled thousands of professional athletes before you. They have the resources available to manage your money, keep it safe, and make sure you're receiving guidance on how to handle your lottery ticket. A client with as much money as Laremy will have a dedicated group of high-end financial advisors ensuring his money is safe. One quote to always remember if you're a professional athlete is you only need to get rich once. Once you get the second contract, managing your money and making sure it's safe is 100 times more important than trying to grow the principal. Even if he spent all of his NFL salary for the first 4 years, he had a $7.2 million signing bonus. What's sad is a lot of young players get in the league and live the lifestyle of the veterans and expect to earn the second contract. The NFL is the most ruthless league for young athletes, but just having that signing bonus will have your family covered for the rest of your life. Even with a steady 5% return on a diversified portfolio, $4 million invested is going to pay out $200,000 per year without ever touching the principal. Even in the worst case scenario of Laremy not earning a second contract, his family would be able to live in a beautiful gated suburban community and never have to worry about money again on a $200,000 a year income.
I randomly asked my mom what kind of car she wanted. But my mom said she wanted a Bentley Continental GT. Coupe with red interior, so that's what she wants. So that's what she getting.
I was really happy to hear that he waited to purchase his 2 exotic cars, the Lambo Urus and the Bentley, after he got his second contract.
Once I get that second contract, I'm gonna get you whatever you want. And she knew it was coming. And I just asked her randomly one day what type of car you want.
Once you sign the second deal for $66 million over 3 years, it's really difficult to go broke. Since he's saving 80% of his money, he can easily spend multiple hundreds of thousands on cars and not affect his financial situation at all. It's funny the comments I get on my other videos when I criticize rookies for spending money on exotic cars. It's not the exotic cars that's the problem, it's that most professional athletes are spending as if the second contract is guaranteed. Very few athletes would go broke if they were patient and waited to really spend until the second deal.
So my next big purchase was these collectibles. They're called cars. I got a whole bunch of these around the crib.
When you invest your money and give yourself spending money, you can be free to go purchase whatever your heart desires. I had to look up these KAWS dolls, and apparently it isn't just a niche art. KAWS has 3.2 million followers on Instagram. The brand is more than the dolls, and the artist sells art pieces for as much as $2.4 million.
This is my first watch, actually. The Richard Mille is just something I had to cop. I didn't want to get the APs. I didn't want to get the Rollies. I just wanted to be different. Get something that's more like classic.
What I find fascinating about watches is how much of their value is dependent on people knowing the brand. I would guess these watches are worth about 20 grand because I know nothing about watches. With a little research though, I understand why the watch is worth as much as my house, but I still don't have the ability to spot a watch brand in public. This is one of the reasons why I think watches and jewelry are the most overpriced consumer items in the world. Their value is dependent on your understanding of the brand, not from the utility of the item. I know, some watches maintain their value, so this isn't a sunk cost like customized necklaces are, but I still can't comprehend walking around in public with a $200,000 to $800,000 consumer item on my wrist. What happens if you accidentally misplace it?
But more expensive, so if I go to a restaurant, and, of course, just sit at a table and guys have the APs on or the Rolex, and I just come in there with the Richard, I feel like I get more respect from everybody when I come in there.
Laremy Tunsil is one of the wealthiest and highest status dudes in America based on his profession and income. He's a massive dude and commands respect just based off of his size and athleticism. but yet he still has the feeling of needing respect from other dudes, and he receives that respect from his watch. I find this to be a fascinating personality trait. I can't relate because I personally have no interest in wearing anything that seeks attention like jewelry or a watch does. I wouldn't even know what his watch is, or that it's the most expensive at the table, or that it's even different from the others. So I would be the worst person to hang out with. Hey Spencer, I just bought a Richard Mille. I would have to Google what that even means, and then I'd see the price and faint.
I donated $250K to the citizens in Houston for the COVID relief. My biggest thing, man, is just always giving back.
This was really cool to see. Laremy is saving 80% of his money and was able to allocate a lot of money to help those in need. What's awesome about investing tens of millions of dollars like Laremy has is that he now has plenty of capital to help those in need as he sees fit. I can guarantee that athletes would live more fulfilling lives and would be much happier if they invested 80% of their income like Laremy has, and they give back to causes they care about. Getting another exotic, spending $100K on bottle service, or visiting the strip clubs every weeknight with James Harden is cool, but I can guarantee you that the most enjoyment in life comes from helping those in need. Laremy started his NFL career like no one else. He stood in front of reporters asking tough questions on the biggest night of his life and didn't flinch. His hard work and talent paid off in the form of a $66 million contract. He'll likely earn another deal before he retires as well. And if he continues saving or investing 80% of his contract money, then his family tree will be covered for generations, and he'll be able to continue helping the less fortunate in Houston for many years to come. And if he's able to earn some endorsement money, then he can use that as play money for more exotic cars or cost dolls. Well done, Laremy. I'm glad to see that you turned the nightmare of draft day into being financially set for life. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you to all of my new Patreon members for joining the club.